What's up, y'all? It's your boy Vinnie-Dangerous, and I'm back with another installment of Dangerous Minds. It's the end of 2018, and just like how we ended off season 2 last year with my last guest, the first guest of season 3 is my dad, rapper, performer, Massadonking.
How y'all doing?
And we wanted to give y'all just one last final episode. I asked on the Instagram page, who do you think deserves the biggest L of 2018? There were people saying Tekashi, there was people saying Donald Trump, of course, even Chris Rock, because of that video that came out, you know, from 2012 that people have been circulating, but
which is trash.
Yeah,
we done that already, so it's just old.
Yeah, rehashing old shit, you know. But there's nobody from a professional, from a personal standpoint that I feel like deserves it more than Kanye West.
I agree. Kanye West basically came to trying to keep his marketing, keep his brand alive this year. He was struggling financially. He cried about it, you know, pretty much at the end of 2017.
Mm-hmm.
So coming into 2018 and acting erratic, putting out several albums, getting Drake and Pusha T into that marketing campaign, trying to do the whole thing. All of this is marketing to keep the brand alive for good music or just himself in general. I'm not really split.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. Anything that his name is attached to, I feel like all of his antics, whether people tried to blame it on his mental state, people tried to say that maybe there was some, you know, the crazy thing to me was that people tried to put, you know, rational thought, try to explain that, you know, tried to give a good explanation for what he's doing, like he had a point to it all, but really, at the end of the day, it was all orchestrated. It all lined up with new releases, new shoes, new clothes. Like when he was, you know, anytime he had something to put out, it was trying to get attention by supporting Donald Trump. The slavery was a choice comment, you know, him endorsing Candace Owens, all of that, you know, lined up perfectly with the 5 albums he was putting out, with him and his good music camp, or when he had the clothing line or the fashion show for the new Yeezy release, or just recently when he, you know, him and Drake going back and forth on Twitter, lines up perfectly with the release of his new Yeezy shoes.
Well, it looked to me like he went from being a prophet and all of this stuff, and we're waiting to hear the next interjection of what does Kanye West think? What does he feel about Trump in this era, which is such a polarization from when we got Bush. What was it? How did it go?
Bush doesn't care about black people.
Famous quote, you know, we fell in love with him, we thinking he's such a brave individual. And over time, and once again, of course, they're going to blame it on the fact that his mother passed away. Mm-hmm. But over time, it just turned into, he just became more misogynistic, even with the Life of Pablo album. Mm-hmm. That was so self-serving. Mm-hmm. It was just him rapping about Kim Kardashian, and to me, keeping her brand alive. As his brand is depleting, he's going back to Pusha T to help. Mm-hmm. He went back to Kid Cudi that he dissed not too long ago. Yeah. And using his illness with being bipolar and other mental issues, it was just a real sad attempt to keep the Kanye West brand alive. We got a fantastic album by Nasir that Kanye West, I mean not Kanye, but Beyonce and Jay-Z just had dismissed, which was one of the year's biggest tragedies. That we dismissed his project. And then we had the 2 albums he put out, which his self-titled album, and then not self-titled, what was it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was, yeah, okay. So self-titled album, then we had the one with Kid Cudi. All of that stuff sounded like it was old material to me. Mm-hmm. And so, you know,
actually, yeah, like Gay sounded rushed because of the whole. There was reports that he went back and like re-recorded a lot of stuff to try to clear up a lot of the controversy he was getting from the TMZ comment. And you know, I feel like, you know, on my list with the last episode, my most disappointing albums, I made that my #1 most disappointing album of the year, just because of the quality of music that we expect from Kanye West, from College Dropout, Late Registration, I mean all the way to My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and even like the bright spots in Life of Pablo. We were expecting a certain level of artistic greatness that he's been known to give people with his releases since the beginning of his career, and this being possibly his worst album, just because of the weak production, writing, I mean, there's only 7 songs, so you don't really get as much that you would normally get from a Kanye West project, which usually goes about at least 15 tracks. So maybe he just didn't have the space to work, but I think a lot of it also had to do with that he was cleaning up what was going on with the whole TMZ situation. And one of the worst things to come out of that was the fact that, you know, Kanye West has always been known to be controversial. He's always said some outlandish or done some outlandish things that didn't necessarily take away from what he was trying to push. And I think this time he took it a step too far to where his antics got in the way of his art. Like, I remember he made a comment a few months ago when he was saying that he was used, you know, with the Candace Owens thing. He designed that logo for the campaign trying to move black people away from the Democratic Party to the Republican Party. He felt like he was used and abused and he was stepping away from politics. I think that was when he realized that Kanye West going to the White House to be buddied up with Trump, Kanye West endorsing Candace Owens, you know, making controversial comments like that at TMZ, it took away from what he really was trying to push. So people say no controversy, no publicity is bad publicity, as long as it gets people's attention on you. But when you look at the numbers and you look at the sales of Ye and Kids See Ghosts and all of the releases that he put out, really, except for maybe Daytona, probably the most successful out of the 5. And
but that was marred with the controversy of the attack on Drake, which turned around and became helpful more for Drake than it did for their brand. Now, one thing about it is especially that the comment that you made about Kanye West wanted to move people from the Democratic Party to the Republican Party. That's an old ploy that's been going on for maybe 100 years or more, where it's just this battle between 2 parties. You only have basically 2 choices. So either I'm a Democrat or I'm a Republican. And we need a third party. That's just the bottom line. We need our own party. I ain't even gonna say a third party. We just need our own representation and stop being shuffled back and forth between these 2 ancient wrestling parties that are basically still on the same side and doing the same thing. So they're doing it and using our emotional, mental states against us in the political party. And to me, Kanye West jumped on the bandwagon because right now this is a Trump era. The Republicans and all of their views and racial tones and, you know, the police shootings, everything is leaning towards the Republican perspective. They made Hillary Clinton look bad to get this jumping off. They making who else? It's somebody else. Sarah Posey. What's her name? I'm messing her name.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, basically they're picking out the matriarchs that have been running this for about 20 or 30 years now on the Democratic side, and they're tearing them down. Okay, so if I'm coming out and I'm trying to be conscious at this point in time, that would be the worst time to be conscious. But if I'm trying to kind of cater to say, well, Trump has a point. Trump is a different type of leader, and for this era, this is what we need. Then that's when I believe Kanye West started sounding like the things that we were hearing. He was trying to push consciousness in a way that favored the time and the era was going on, and he just failed miserably.
Yeah, it backfired. There's one thing you gotta know, big thing, like with all of his antics, him trying to do it for marketing purposes.
Yeah.
The one thing he forgot to do was that to know his audience. So even thinking he was going to tap into a market of Trump supporters, he was going to tap into a market of people that thought like, you know, the Republican Party. You know, those people still didn't buy Kanye West's albums. Those people still didn't support Kanye West's art and his fashion and everything else that, you know, his bread and butter that, you know, you would think that your marketing would be pushing. You know, those people still didn't come out and support him, and now you alienate the people that's been supporting you. And then the numbers reflected that.
And it just sounds like a desperate man trying to save a desperate brand that basically, to be honest with you, I think once he married Kim Kardashian, wants to seem like he was self-serving, and it just became outrageous. That's when he lost us. We get gems from him on a couple of singles here and there, but I think My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy would have been the last solid project that I could just say I could put that in and just let it run. Pablo and Yeezus, and there's so many skippable tracks on there. I'm looking at your brand go down for the last 5 or 6 years. And so with that being said, this just looks like a desperate ploy. And the most valuable part about his entire brand right now seems to be Kim Kardashian.
And I think on the professional side, it wasn't the only like L he took this year. I think the whole revelation, if these things are true, but it's a lot of things, especially him weaponizing the whole Drake beat at the time to try to market himself. In trying to defend himself, I think he made himself look bad to a lot of people. They still probably had respect for him even after everything else. Like a lot of people were already kind of hanging on a thread with Kanye West for a while because of the things he was doing. And I think the antics earlier this year was what like a lot of people chose to sabotage him after that. But I think even some of the people that were still holding on after that lost respect because of the revelations of what Drake brought to the table. When he was complaining about being dissed on Sicko Mode and the interview with LeBron where he said that Kanye West snaked the information that out of Drake that he was using that was used to attack him during the Pusha T beef, was what a lot of people saying, hey, we know that Pusha T beat Drake in that battle, no questions asked. But the fact that the information was gathered by somebody that Drake, considered a friend, is what a lot of people saying that Kanye West snaked him. And I think even if people didn't really pay attention to the political stuff, they didn't really pay attention to his antics on like TMZ. I think that, and then the whole rift between him and Beyonce and Jay-Z. Also, you're seeing like you see two different sides on a personal level that don't mess with Kanye West, and you have a problem with him professionally. It just makes him he alienated himself too far at that point.
He pushed away a lot of people that helped him become who he is. So at this point, he's extremely desperate. And to be honest with you, if you take some of the albums that flopped and you pull off the singles that really had impact, it was a couple of them here, a couple of them there. One of his strongest verses was on the Kid Cudi album of the year, where he actually, and then Ye had a couple of verses, a couple of songs on there where it had some real deep meaning. And it's very confusing. And I know he's saying that he suffers from being bipolar, but
and then it's
okay. Think of this. I'm gonna just throw this in here, and I will say this: I believe the whole Cardi B, Offset, threesome, all of that's marketing. Okay, I believe their marriage is marketing. You understand what I'm saying? I don't believe in that relationship. I believe that when Jay-Z got with Beyonce, I believe that was a union of power, business, and all of that, because that's some of the strongest relationships or industries are based on who you're marrying and what you're both bringing to the table. I'll say that when Cardi B and Offset got busted recently, showing that they were actually together, basically on vacation, enjoying one another, and then she tries to gloss over it, saying she just needed sex. I think that was a telling of how marketing is really done to get the masses going, to make you angry at your favorite heroes, making them anti-heroes, and then we're waiting for their redemption. And if you look at what Kanye West has done, we are still waiting for him to do something to redeem himself.
People thought they were getting that when he was going back to Chicago and he was crying on the radio station. He pops up at Chance the Rapper's open mic that he hosts in Chicago and saying he's coming home, he's never leaving again. People thought, okay, maybe Kanye's coming around, like maybe somebody's gotten in his ear, and all of that stuff in the beginning of the year, maybe that's behind him. Now people done showed him the error of his ways, and then he makes the visit to Donald Trump at the White House, where he's hugged up on him. He's basically just looking embarrassed,
like he's on Get Out.
Yeah, like he looked like somebody that went in, just like anybody seen the movie, went in. Now little white man's controlling him. He's in the second place.
But I really think that part of Kanye West has been around for a while. And it's basically I used a certain level, even back when even on College Dropout and all those other songs, he has always said that his main thing is to become wealthy, to become bigger than Michael, to start his fashion, you know, and that's all he cares about. He has been self-serving. He has given us a lot of gems. I mean, as they all say, you literally made a song with Jamie Foxx about gold diggers, about brothers who become successful and leave the sisters, and both you and Jamie Foxx did exactly that.
Yeah, the irony of that is just crazy.
Is it irony or is it a confession? You see what I mean? So I'm so bold as to tell you what I'm going to do in my art, and you are missing it. If you listen to The Life of Pablo, it's so much stuff that he's saying on there that was just hard to listen to about his sexual exploits with his wife. And then to take it another step further on the newer material, he even makes comments about being sexually engaged with his own family members. So, I mean, it's just progressively getting more and more just empty as far as the message that he brings, just so it brings attention to his projects, and then buried in there, you have conscious moments that arise from that. That's too much. And then
and I think the more he becomes detached from reality, you get less and less of that. It was still, I think the thing that we loved about Kanye West in the beginning with College Dropout, Late Registration, was that he still felt relatable, even with everything he talked about. He still felt grounded in reality because he was just removed from, being broke and making 5 beats a day for 3 summers, just trying to get on. And the more successful he got, the more notoriety he got, the less and less he felt like one of us, and the less and less he rapped like somebody else coming from us. So the parts that we held on to, the gems that we held on to, became few and far between because he was being further removed. Well, he further removed himself from what made him relatable to us, and then now he's just on some misogynistic, perverted rich nigga shit.
Basically. And that's the saddest part really about the whole thing. It was his choice. He chose to go the route that he did.
And I think 2018 would be known as the year that Kanye finally just completely broke away from us. He found a figure in Donald Trump that was more about what he was about, and less about, what the people are about. And he was, saying, making a statement, drawing a line in the sand, saying that I'm not for the people. And now this is where my connection with the people, my connection to my grassroots in Chicago, have been completely severed.
And he looked more so like Samuel L. Jackson and DiCaprio and Django. That's what this whole scenario looks like. That he has totally, the whole concept when he came in, that slavery is a choice, it just turned to Django from that part. Everything else that he said, trying to clean it up, all of that was such an infuriating statement to make. And then even when they tried to play the rest of the interview, they cut it up, they took it out of context. You cannot take that out of context. No. You can't. I always, if I'm mad at something, I will put myself in your shoes and try to rationalize a little bit of what you're saying. And I understand that he mentioned, just, so that we can have that other side of the argument, that a lot of people are making choices that they don't have to make. And I agree with that. Okay? But you're not going to ignore the system of racism. Racism is a system. It's not me walking around and white community walking around and I'm deciding to be in these schools that have poor educational resources. That I'm in an area where we're living inside of a food desert, where I don't have, healthy food to eat. That's not a decision. And then I have to make my way from that to come up out of that, which he started in that same position. Now, he was middle class. He wasn't too poor. So he was middle class. His mother was very successful, and she actually helped him be who he is today. Okay, so I get that. But being dismissive of people who are victims of racism and systemic racism then that right there saying that they had a choice. Yes, you have a choice, but it's a choice that it would be different if there was not political policies, mental issues, emotional issues that are surrounded somebody who has what they call a post-traumatic slave syndrome. Is that what? Yeah.
Post-traumatic slave syndrome.
Post-traumatic slave. These are real things that doctors and researchers and historians have all put together over years. So no, it's not a choice like, you know, I want to wear this hat today. It's not that easy. There's a lot that goes behind that. Now, people make poor decisions, drugs, you know, selling drugs, you know, taking drugs. But those are also based on what? Chronic anxiety, bipolarism, which he used that. So you see what I mean? There's so much to unpackage that to make a bold statement across the line that slavery is a choice was very insensitive and very just poor. It was a poor direction to take, even if you're trying to get likes on YouTube. It was poor.
Yeah, so no matter what, from professionally, the only bright spot I could say is that he had the success with Nas, and then I even like Kids Egos. I was like,
yeah, I mean, it wasn't a bad album, but it just sounded like he pulled some stuff out of the crate that he already had.
But other than that, professionally, personally, just the decisions that Kanye West made this year, I can't give it to anybody else but Kanye West is having the biggest L of 2018. But we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. This is the last episode of Dangerous Minds for 2018, but I'll be back in 2019 with the next installment. I've been Vinnie-Dangerous. This is Massadonking. Y'all subscribe to the channel. Check out Dream to Escape Hell, available everywhere on every streaming site and digital store that you can get a hold of it. Also, you can listen to it at www.vinniedangerous.com. But till next time, see y'all. Peace, love.